Okay, awesome. So let's get going. So let's start with a pop quiz. Week before last, we started with a pop quiz. I quite like to start like that. And this evening, I will be having a co-presenter, and she'll be coming in from time to time and pitching in some very germane and some very relevant and important information. All right, we'll be having a talk this evening, and I'm really excited to have you all here. All right, so let's get to it. Pop quiz. What are some organs of waste elimination in the body? Come on, type in the chat for those on YouTube. We're so sorry, but you won't be able to participate as seamlessly as those here on Zoom. But what are some organs of elimination, of waste elimination that our bodies carry? I see their nose. Okay, so that's waste gases. That's true. All right, awesome. It's a part of the respiratory system. I see skin. Wonderful. And that's where we're going this evening. All right. I see armpit. Still the skin, still under the subcategory of skin. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Great. All right, let's look at some of the respiratory organs that was just mentioned. The urinary system. All right, so the kidneys play such an important role. The kidneys is like that filtration system of the body that sends back useful things into the body and filters out waste and in the form of urine. All right, great stuff. Let's move on again. Lymphatic system. Amazing. That is where all the lymph takes out all the germs out of our bodies, okay? And something about lymphatic system is not connected to the circulatory system. So it's just by movement that we get our lymph moving, all right, to clean the body of toxins and to dump it into the blood vessels will then be filtered out of the body and we're good to go. Digestive system, of course. One of our main organs that does that is definitely the colon, with water absorption and toxin being pushed out. All right. And definitely what we'll be talking about this evening, which is the skin, the largest organ of the body. And as if you've seen the flyer, it says this is underappreciated. That is my humble view that the skin and what it does for us is underappreciated. All right. How it affects other organs and what it does to protect us. Normally, we just put something on the skin, but we shouldn't do that because our health depends on it. All right. Now, here are some detoxification. We just mentioned some of them. No, the skin directly and bona fidely it does not do detoxification. But what it does, it works in tandem or in conjunction with the detoxification systems of the body by expelling toxins and impurities through the sweat. All right. So it works with them. So whenever this partner is not working, it affects these detoxification systems of the body. All right. Makes sense. So we're going to go through some of the quotes that we read, and we're going to use them as talking points, launching ramps to get into some other issues. Now, if you read this page in the book, Healthful Living, page 188, paragraph 1, it says here, impurities are constantly and imperceptibly passing from the body through the pores. And if the surface of the skin is not kept in a healthy condition, the system is burdened with impure matter. Just think about that for a while. It's insensible to you when things are passing from your body out. It's happening all the time, continuously. All right. And imperceptibly, you don't know, but your body is working. Your skin is always working to get rid of toxins, impurities through the pores. That's something that we want to stress this evening, that the pores of your skin helps as a gateway to get out impurities. And so we must keep it in a healthy and clean and unburdened, unclogged situation. For that, if it is clogged and it's not clean, what it will do is burden the system with these impurities. Does that make sense so far? So the burden of labor is thrown upon the liver, the lungs, the kidneys, and these internal organs are compelled to do the work of the skin. And this is what systems do. Systems work in a compensatory way. But when one one part of the unit takes on work that it is not meant to do, over time, it breaks down. All right. And all systems are like that. Social systems, when one person of the family is taking on too much load because another is not picking it up, over time, you can see that that person will be worn out. All right. In companies, wherever, and also in our bodies, we have members, different organs. And when one organ is not doing its job because the owner of the body is doing something wrong, maybe clogging it, then the liver has to do double work. All right. The kidneys is saying, hey, we got to pick up the slack. Hey, come on, let's do some more work. But over time, you keep this up, then you see what will happen. And it will just not be good. Someone here asking for the PowerPoint. It will be my pleasure to share this with you. Just ask again and at the end, and I will make arrangements for you. All right. The skin needs to be carefully and thoroughly cleansed, that the pores may do their work in freeing the body from impurities. All right. So as we look at our skin, just from a distance, you can't really see the pores, but there are millions of little mouths open. And this is how the skin interacts with the surface on the outside. All right. Now, when you go into an environment where um, it's toxic, normally the eyes tell you, all right? And you're like, let's get away from this situation. The mouth tells you if you're taking something bad, oh, this tastes really bad. This is bleach. This is not water. You will know right away. But the skin doesn't have that direct sensory, except that it's heat or cold. But we can't tell. But the skin is absorbing everything from the environment. All right. Normally, we just want our skin to look nice and clean, but the skin is a functional organ that is working to free the body from impurities. And so, because that's the case, we want to help it. All right. We want to keep it. So make sure that you have written down where you can find this. The book Healthful Living is a gem. It should be in everyone's library at home. This should be something that you can reach for. On a Sunday evening, after we finish with these amazing seminars, we want you to be able to sit down and read through and be blessed by having this book in your library at home. Now, we talked about these before, how organs compensate. Now, let's look at it a little deeper. The kidneys, for example, they operate as an accessory excretory organ, okay? When the skin sweat is blocked or reduced, the kidneys take up the burden of filtering out the excess water, salts, and metabolic byproducts like urea. All right, so the kidneys take up the extra work that the skin leave off. And we want to keep our kidneys nice and healthy, right? Who wouldn't want that? Our kidneys play such a great role in our bodies, often underappreciated as well, until one or both of them go bad. We see how life supporting the kidneys are. And even in the regulation of blood pressure. All right. So a lot of times persons have high blood pressure and they're wondering why. So if the kidneys are burdened and have a greater workload than that blood supply that they have, then we know that it can trigger that system where more renin is in the bloodstream, you know, more angiotensin and then aldosterone, and that raises the blood pressure because the kidneys sense that, hey, I need more blood to do this work because of the more pressure that's placed upon me. So there's a lot of things that go on that our bodies are just working constantly for us. We want to know what it's doing so we can say, hey, let me give you some help. The liver, all right? The skin is highly active in xenobiotic and drug biotransformation elements, acting as an antioxidant shield. Now, when this is impaired, the liver must work much harder to process and neutralize toxins that would otherwise be cleared at the skin surface. See that? So you want to cure for your liver? Cure for your skin. How's that sound? Sounds weird, right? But this is why we do this, so that we can get this information out, so that you can be blessed, so we can appreciate our bodies and know that we are truly fearfully and wonderfully made by a creator, not that we are developed from by undirected mutative processes over millions of years. That's just fairy tale. All right. We were made by a creator, and because we're made by him, we want to know what the manufacturer says to us through his manual, which is the word of God. Now let's look on. The lungs, for example, the lungs and the skin are deeply connected in regulating systemic oxidative stress. Make sense? If the skin's defenses fail, systemic inflammation can increase, leading to secondary stress and changes in lung function. So you want to have healthy respiratory system, take care of your skin, all right? The most unlikely thing a lot of times is the answer to things that we've been struggling with for years because the body is one unit made up of different parts who compensate when another is affected. All right. So let's continue under the skin in waste elimination. This was from the book Healthful Living again, and this was a specific counsel given to someone. You have not given your body a chance to breathe. Person said, "What are you talking about? I'm breathing." Well, let's read on. The pores of the skin, or the little mouths through which the body breathes, have become closed, and the system has been filled with impurities. Its million little mouths are closed because they are clogged by the impurities of the system and for want of air. They breathe the same air over and over until it becomes impregnated with poisonous impurities and waste matter thrown off from their bodies through the lungs and through the pores of the skin. So I want you to now think of breathing as the skin's interaction with the environment in sweating and letting out impurities. All right. So that's the way that the skin breathes as well. We always talk about trees breathing, all right? Through respiration, photosynthesis, we say trees do breathe. Well, guess what? We have another way of breathing as well, and it's by keeping our pores unclogged so that it can get the impurities out and it can absorb things that are good. Make sense? All right. Let's go on. So the skin is also an absorber. I just touched on that a little bit. If the garments worn are not frequently cleansed from these impurities, the pores of the skin absorb again the waste matter thrown off. The impurities of the body, if not allowed to escape, are taken back into the blood and forced upon the internal organs. That makes sense? So the skin works both ways. It works primarily as a doorway to the external world to expel toxins, but the skin also is absorptive and it works as an absorber too. That's why you put nice, nourishing things on your skin because you know that it goes into from the epidermis to dermis and it goes down to the most innermost layer where it can now interact with the internal organs. But you want to put good things on your skin because if you don't do that, we have a problem. All right. So wear clean, fresh garments. Sometimes, for different reasons, we may repeat or put on something you put on yesterday, but just use your common sense and know that your skin is actually picking up what's on that and taking it in. All right. So it's just some more on caring for the pores of the skin. As a rule of thumb, do not put anything on the pores or on your skin that you cannot consume. How's that sound? If you can't consume it without dying, then don't put it on your skin. And that's something that we picked up years ago from Rudy Davis, a naturopathic doctor, in one of his presentation. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. Could you put this thing on your tongue and not die? Could you eat it? Then your skin will thank you for it. All right. So caring for your pores is not merely a cosmetic concern. This is my notes now. It is a fundamental aspect of maintaining the health of your body's largest organ, the skin. The skin is a major organ of absorption, meaning that what you apply to it is a direct investment in your long-term well-being. Think about it that way, not just your appearance. A truly effective pore care strategy must therefore focus on supporting the skin's natural biology, avoiding toxic chemicals, and promoting internal wellness. And I put that in bold so that you can screenshot this. We want to look good. And nothing nice like you look nice, you look good, but you also want to be good. You want to be in good health. And remember, the skin is really a reflection of an internal health. We're going to touch on that some more. We want to learn to read the skin. We want to learn to read the book of the skin. We've become so inept and ignorant of what the messages that the skin sends us on the state of our internal health because we just want to look good. I want clear skin, but the skin is saying, hey, I'm sending you some messages of what's going on in here, bro. It doesn't look good. All right. So take your stuff. All right. So I hope I'm coming through and making these points clear. All right. So many are ignorantly injuring their health and endangering their lives by using cosmetics. When they become heated, the poison is absorbed by the pores of the skin and is thrown into the blood. Many lives have been sacrificed by this means alone. Have you heard about it? I haven't much. If you're not looking, you will not find this truth. And a lot of times it's not reported. But many lives we're told here by the pen of inspiration is sacrificed by this means alone. And what's that means? By the use of cosmetic ingredients that, when heated, are entering into the skin, into the organ, into the blood circulatory systems, now into the organ, and then poison the body. And we're running around trying to figure out what's happening. But the continuous use of these things, especially, the body is made robust to take some abuse, and we shouldn't abuse the body unnecessarily. And someone might be saying, is there a necessary abuse of the body? Yes, there can be. If you have to stay up whole night with someone at the hospital, you have just broken the law of rest. But the Lord made your body robust enough so that you can do that when it's necessary, so that you can tend to life and the saving of someone else. But to do this continuously, like here, we're told, is not necessary. All right. So let's move on some more. We're going to look at some topical hazards that are normal features in the average cosmetic and skincare products. And I do this so that you can look out for them, all right? And you can reduce them to the point where you can eliminate them. Now, if you're ignorant of something, you don't know that this even is a threat, then that's a problem. But if you know, then you can start looking out and you can start listening. You can start making other decisions and say, no, I love mommy. I'm not going to put this in mommy's gift that I'm buying for her. I love my family. I'll take this option instead because I don't see that it has parabens on it. You hear what I'm saying? So that's the idea. All right. We want to become educated because the food industry, the product industry, by and large, is an evil place. Money is the bottom line. And so we go there thinking that they love us. They're all for us. But money is the bottom line. If a choice has to be made with between what is best and cutting down our profit margin and what is not so good, but increasing our profit margin, business exists to serve themselves and to improve profit. The decision is simple. Truly, the love of money is the root of all evil. All right, so let's talk about some topical hazards. Parabens. I'm sure you've heard about that, many of you. Parabens free. You can see, I'm not going to read what it is. I've already made the notes. We have some ground to cover, but there we go. So parabens can mimic estrogen and cause disruption to the immune system, nervous system, and reproductive system. Now, if you would like my sources, I can give it to you. If you're someone who's a fickler for, oh, where did he get this source? I can give you all of it. I didn't want to sound too academic and boring. I just wanted to tell you and trust that you would believe me. But if you want the sources, I can give it all to you at the end, or if you reach out to me. All right. So parabens, look out for that. Phthalates. These are industrial chemicals used in plastics and skincare products that have been implicated in reduced fertility and inhibited normal sexual development by blocking key hormone action. You see, the hormonal system of the body um, is really the body's information system. All right. This is how the body gets information and knows what it is to do. All right. I did say hormone, but it's an endocrine system. That's where it works from, information. And a lot of things that we partake of and interact with in the world messes with this information system. Even though we're doing everything else right, if the hormones are telling the body something different or cannot tell the body, then that may result in sickness as well. So watch out for phthalates. Triclosan, this is another one. All right. You can take screenshots of these as I go through, or just write down the terms. You say, hey, I'm going to start looking for these things. Formaldehyde releasing preservatives, that's another one. and I have some names there for you. Iodopropanil butyl carbonate, IPBC for short. That's another one. All right. So, and this is banned up in 2016 in the European Union, but still okay in the US and also Caribbean countries. All right. So, talc, for example, which is talcum powder. We know about this one. And I grew up in Jamaica where when you bathe, you're not sleek and clean just yet until the powder is on the chest. Come on now. The powder got to be on the chest and to say you got it done. No, a lot of persons are not doing that anymore, but still persons do it. All right. But a 1971 study found that three-quarters of ovarian tumors studied contained the talc particles, and women using talcum powder face increased risk of ovarian and cervical cancer. So it's well known. Johnson and Johnson, for example, face over 60,000. Now listen to this: 60,000 lawsuits alleging its talcum-based products were contaminated with asbestos, causing ovarian cancer, mesothelioma. J&J seized global sales of talc-based baby powder in 2023, just the other day, transitioning to cornstarch and has repeatedly but unsuccessfully attempted to use bankruptcy to settle these claims. So they wanted to file bankruptcy, but judges keep rejecting it, and so the claims keep going on. All right, isn't that something? All right, and I believe here it was said in the book years ago. I did not. I don't remember if I had put that in the notes. But no, let's talk about the healthful glow. Now, what's the best ornament that you can wear? What's the best thing you can put on? You do know that it's the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. There is something about you when you are at peace. There is something about you when you trust God. There is something about you when you wear that confidence that you have in the Lord. You are beautiful. I can tell you, it's not all about if all of the spots are covered. People will see that and say, there's something about you. I don't know what it is. I don't have the words to put it all together, but there is an ornament that you wear. And I encourage everyone to seek to wear that ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, all right? Which is in the sight of great price and makes you beautiful. So I want to talk about that healthful glow. Ladies may resort to cosmetics to restore the tint of the complexion, but they cannot thus bring back the glow of healthful feelings to the heart. That which darkens and makes dingy the skin also clouds the spirit and destroys cheerfulness and peace of mind. And that makes your skin glow, right? It makes a man more precious than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? You can be beautiful. You just I really have to trust the Lord. And don't follow the world and what they purport as beauty, all right? Sometimes you have to go through a little breakout, go through it. I know one of my friends, beautiful young lady, also a friend of my wife, and she went through hers. And I commend her. She's so beautiful. And I'm like, wow, you are brave. She went through it and she didn't do anything to her skin, and she's looking lovelier today. All right. And so can you too. So can I too. So sometimes we want to cover things up all the way, but that's not the best. All right. Allow the skin to do what it is trying to do. All right, so as I'm going to ebb off of this point, I want to say to you that there are some unusual sources of cosmetic ingredients, and you can see some on the screen already, right? Crush bugs, and these biologic sources, they stain and they stay long, so it's very good. So crush bugs, and this is all documented. Snail mucus, all right? Have you ever tried washing off that thing? All right. Um, Whale vomit and feces. It's called ambergris, by the way. All right, so you can look up that. I'm being told in the chat beavers. Okay, great. I didn't know that one. See? And you might be surprised what makes up many of these things. Fish scales called guanine, right? And the beaver thing is used in lipstick. Yes, also the crush bugs used in lipstick, bright red, you see? Sheep grease, which is called lanolin. All right. and B venom, which none of us want, right? But it is called the Botox of the lips. All right, it's very expensive. And bull semen, right? The bull is doing his job, but we want to interfere with him, you see? So then we use the semen to mix in and use in different parts of many cosmetic products, right? Um, so amazing stuff so far. And I want you to know these things so we can be on the lookout for them as we care for our skin and care for our body. All right, we talked about this a little bit. Those who are not in health have impurities in the blood, and the skin is not in a healthy condition. The studied habit of shunning the air and avoiding exercise closes the pores. So what we're going to start doing, if you haven't started already, start exercising. All right. Love fresh air. Go outside more. All right. Do not avoid exercise. All right. Work your body a little bit so that your breathing increases. And then as you continue, you realize that what used to floor you is no warm up. All right. The abilities of your body increases over time. All right. And the little mouth through which the body breathes, making it impossible to throw off impurities through that channel. All right, they close. The burden of labor is thrown upon the liver, lungs, kidneys, etc. And these internal organs are compelled to do the work of the skin. These pores have become clogged and cannot perform the task allotted to them. And so the internal organs have a double task thrown upon them and the whole system is deranged. So now we want to see the involvement of the skin in different ailments and sicknesses and disease that mankind comes down with. Make sense? We want to know that the skin is not just there to abuse. Many persons abuse it by trying to change their skin. And the Bible talks about, can the Ethiopian change his skin? It's what we'd call a rhetorical question. Obviously not. So even though there are persons who endanger the skin and damage it by putting products on it to change the beautiful melanin that God gave them, it's only temporary. And matter of fact, when they stop doing that, there's a tinge to the skin which sometimes never leaves, and their original skin color never comes back because the skin is damaged beyond repair. Don't do such a thing. All right. Love what God gave you. If you have a tone like mine, I don't know what this is called. If you have darker chocolate, if you're lighter, God made us in so many different hues. All right. Shine in what he blessed you with. Love yourself as he made you and strive to be the best person that you can be mentally, spiritually, physically, socially with others as well. We have to develop ourselves in all areas of our being. All right. Some biblical pointers here. Wherefore, by their fruits, ye shall know them. I'll say, okay, I'm going to look at what people do and see me, I go and figure them out. So I say, I'm not watching, I'm not going to know. But did you know that this is a health verse? Of course. When I look at my skin, I see my own fruits and I'm knowing myself. All right. I'm like, I've been doing something. See? So I'm been looking at the skin now, and the skin is telling me what I don't know about what's going on the inside. And it's telling me about my lacks or to do something good or my lackadaisical attitude in doing something wrong. All right. So the skin is telling on me by the fruit of how the skin looks, I shall know my health. Can I put it that way for you? Let's look at another one. Job 33:25. His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. This is the promise. All right. Job was restored. It doesn't matter how your skin looks right now. If you are willing to make changes, this promise is yours. We want you to hold on to it, grasp it, believe it 100%, so that by faith you can have the results. All right. Now let's talk about, we're going to change gears here.
Yes, can you?
I was just about to call on you, and now if you wanted to pitch in and say anything, please go ahead.
Yes, the skin to me is the loudest indicator because when someone looks at you, that's the first thing that
Mm,
they see. They see the facial skin and, the rest afterwards.
yeah.
So, many times because that is the case, we cover up, but we have to just go through. I remember, this young lady. She had severe rashes on her skin, and she went to so many, well, she went to doctors and they told her that she had to live on Allegro for the rest of her
Mm.
life. And just going through a thorough cleanse and, going through it, you have to just go through it. And of course, you'll have the flare-ups every now and then, but just go through it and stick with it. And then she's clear, she doesn't. And another young man, he
Amazing.
had, so he had gout, and he was going through the normal steps of treating the symptom, not understanding that the gout is still in the blood. So even though he uses the topical medications, he thought it disappeared until he changes diet, changes lifestyle, and was, going through that purging process and that cleanse. And then the goat came back up.
Wow.
And he was like, the goat came back up. you know, what to do? Is this a good thing for me or not? And then I told, he was counseled to just go through that phase. And afterwards, the goat disappeared and never returned. So many times, what we cover up is actually still there. And I know you'll touch on it. It's
Yeah.
actually still there. And so we have to just look at the indicators and address them. Don't cover them up, nor temporarily, hide them, but address them, especially when it comes to the skin, because it's an indicator of what's going on inside.
In powerful stuff. Thank you. Thank you. So we press that point and we want to press it again. The skin is an indicator. All right. So we know that it's an eliminator, it's an absorber, it's a protector, but it's also an indicator of internal health. And we must labor to learn how to read this amazing book called The Skin. You may not be uh, an expert as a dermatologist is, that's okay. But as practical physiologists who all own a body, it behoves us to know basically what the body is trying to tell us. Make sense? All right. Let's go on to bathing. Of course, like what this young man telling me about bathing. All right, in Jamaica, I remember back then there was a song which said, All who know, bathe from morning, will run go water fresh. Jamaicans don't play when it comes to bathing, all right? Caribbean people I know in this part of the hemisphere and tropical um, weather, we tend to not play around with that, but still, there are some other specifics that we may be missing. All right. So let's talk about it. From the book, says here, and this is coming from the book Healthful Living, bathing frees the skin from the accumulation of impurities, which are constantly collecting and keeps the skin moist and supple. All right. So bathing is the best way to help the skin to free itself of accumulation of impurities. Let's go on. Upon rising in the morning, most persons would be benefited by taking a sponge bath. Or if more agreeable, a hand bath with merely a wash bowl of water. This will remove impurities from the skin. Now, today, in this time, it wasn't like showers like we have today and so on, but even a bath where you rub, and we're going to talk about what you exfoliate with in a while, is very good because you now have time to focus and clean those different parts of your body. All right. And upon rising in the morning, all right. So that's very good. Frequent bathing is very beneficial, especially at night just before retiring or upon rising in the morning. If you were here for the one we did on rest or sleep, we talked about how regulation of a body temperature to a cooler state supports sleep. All right. So it's an error to not bathe before you retire, especially if you're not sick. All right. And you could actually grab a shower. You'll find that you'll get a more rewarding sleep when your body temperature is cooler. All right. And bathing is one of the best ways to do that. So at night, just before retiring or upon rising in the morning, it will take but a few moments to give the children a bath. and to rub them until their bodies are in a glow. Oh yeah, rub them. Rub them until their bodies are in a glow. I remember growing up. This is how my mom and my grandma would bathe me. And sometimes when I was even older and they allowed me to bathe myself, they would say, I see dirt in your eel string, boy. You know, that's the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. And when they would come and pull that shower curtain and surprise me and give me a good bathe, they would rub me. Someone's laughing at me, but they would rub you. And it would be painful in the process a little bit because you're like, man, and they lift up your arm and they twist you around and that they're bathing you properly. And when you come out of that bath, you feel so clean. I'm like, that's not fair. I've been bathing myself all this time, but I haven't been rubbing myself. I haven't been gently exfoliating. And so you can see the big difference when you do that. Now, this is how we ought to bathe. All right? Not just allow the shower to run over us and come out and dry off. We'll talk about that some more. All right? And I've been bathing for years, but it's never too late to learn something new, right? Bathe frequently in pure soft water, followed by gentle rubbing. I'm going to touch on these two things. Pure soft water and followed by gentle rubbing. We talked about the gentle rubbing, so I can not touch on that anymore. All right, we touched on that point. But what about soft water? Let's go hard versus soft water. All right, so hard water is water that has high mineral content, calcium, magnesium, so on. These come from like um, take that comment. These come from like the well. Different river water may have different hardness, all right? But also the water that we get through the pipe is actually hard. But we've been told here that it is best to bathe with soft water, all right? Pure soft water. No, soft water, on the opposite, water that doesn't have mineral content, such as rainwater, distilled water, but you wouldn't want to bathe much with distilled water. All right, reverse osmosis water. So let's talk about this point a little bit. Okay, I'm going to mention that in a while. Let's talk about this point. All of us, our homes are supplied with more or less hard water, but we've been told here that we are to use soft water. So how do we circumvent or maybe mitigate against this problem? And then the problem of piped water is even made worse when we add soap. Did you know that? Or hard water. Let's just say when you use hard water and you add soap, it's even made worse for your skin. The solution that comes to my mind now is to scrub thoroughly. All right? Don't just wash off the soap and dry off. Soap can create a film which prevents dead skins from actually falling off. So gently rub even when you're washing off. So you want to, when you're soaping up, you want to rub, right? You want to rub, not to the point where you're going to aggravate your skin, all right? But you want to rub like you're rubbing off some dirt. Imagine that there are old skin cells that you're actually taking off. And then when you're washing off, you want to be rubbing off as well. All right. So if you have rainwater, if you're able to bathe with soft water, this is what we've been told that this is actually the best option. But if you do not have that, we want to face the problem head on and know that there is something that possibly we can do, which is to not just allow it to sit on the body, but we want to rub as we are washing off as well. All right. I have a comment here from Valera. Healthy bath with charcoal soak in chunks. So helpful way to, especially someone have skin disease. It's proven tested many years by God's help. All right. And we know that charcoal, thank you for that. I really appreciate comments like that add to the fullness of this presentation. Charcoal is an adsorber. It soaks up toxins, all right? And that helps to pull toxins one way because you're sitting in that bath with chunks of activated charcoal. All right, so that's great. We'll make note of that. All right, great stuff. Thank you. Keep them coming. Um, so let's talk about desquamation. That's basically the process where the skin changes cells continuously and every day. If I should ask you, how often does your skin change? Listen, skin cells are dying and being replaced every day. You're shedding skin. The skin cells in the human body undergo a continual renewal process, shedding approximately 30,000 to 40,000 skin cells every minute. Can you picture that? This translates to roughly 4 kilograms of skin cells each year, which is a significant amount of body weight, of the body's weight. All right. So think about that next time. Like, wow, my skin is changing. All right. And I want to help it. I want to help it by bathing more effectively. All right. So an authentic loofah. Now, loofahs are sold everywhere, but not all loofahs are the same. An authentic loofah is not made of synthetic plastic. All right. I grew up using the rag with the surface. So it's not smooth. It has a surface for rubbing. But the best thing to really use is a loofah. It is not made of synthetic plastic. It is a natural fiber sponge derived from dried topical loofah, aged tipiaca gourd. All right. So there is how it looks naturally in the picture. It serves as a biodegradable plant-based exfoliator for the body's care and skincare routine. They are firmer and rougher than synthetic puffs. And this is why it's so important. If you've ever used one of these, you'll see that it is actually rougher, which makes them highly effective for exfoliating dead skin cells. All right? I challenge you to do something. If you've bathed already, take some alcohol and rub on different portions of your skin right now. You'd be surprised the amount of dirt that still comes off. All right? You'll be amazed. You're like, but I thought I was clean. All right. So you want to be exfoliating. Much of what you're seeing is dead skin cells. All right. Dirt, and it traps dirt as well. All right. So we're gonna switch from bathing. I don't know. My co-presenter, do we have anything you want to share on bathing? Any tips? Maybe not
Yes,
right now. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Bathing with soap. I'm not sure if you covered it because I stepped away a while ago.
Please do.
But bathing with soap versus body wash.
Okay.
There's a big difference because soap creates what is called scum, and
Mm.
that is left on the body. We realize that when you bathe with soap, the dirt still remains because of the oil. Soap doesn't always remove all the oil, and the oil traps the dirt. So another tip, it's best to bathe with body wash versus soap. And we see
Okay.
that too. When you
Yes.
bathe in the bathroom with soap, it's white. It
Mm.
creates this white coating. It's the same thing it does on the skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I didn't mention that, by the way. So thank you for coming in and blessing us with that truth. All right. Someone here is asking, what about bathing with warm water versus cold? Yes, warm water has a tendency. Let me see if that's the entirety of the question. Yes. So warm water has the tendency to break up um, dirt and debris more. All right, if you put warm water onto something, it will break it up more versus cold. But cold water has many health benefits that the warm doesn't have. So yes, if you are able and you have that amenity or ability at your fingertips, definitely warm water definitely helps where that is concerned. Someone is asking, what about the plastic loofah or puff? Well, what we've just shown is that it is not the best. If that's what you can get, but it is plastic, okay? But if that's what you can get currently, I mean, get what you can. But it's always good that we can do our best that we have and then do the best that we can get as well. So the loofahs that we just talked about, or the organic loofahs, is coarser and does the exfoliating much better. All right. Yes. Okay. I'm seeing here they recommend a little cold after the warm to close the pores. All right. Okay. So warm, and we know that just like with the blood circulatory system, warm rushes blood to the area, cold slows it down to get rid of excess inflammation or redness or heat that results in pain. All right. So just like the contrast baths we're seeing here, that is both of them are useful. All right. Cold water is good for the immune system, and warm water is good for cleaning. All right, great stuff. Thank you for the questions so far. Keep them coming as we are winding down. We're talking about bathing, but we're moving on now to acne and just a little bit on acne. That acne at its core is really an enlarged pores that result from overactive oil glands that create sticky pores when trapping bacteria inside the skin, which is then caused by pimple formation. All right. This is often driven by hormonal changes, stress, or nutritional deficiencies. The goal is not to strip the skin of its natural oils, but to rebalance them. This is where the remarkable properties of plant-based ingredients come into play. So there's a little picture there. I wish I could zoom, but the fundamental and foundational thing to know here is to keep the pores clean. And the skin of your face is different from the skin of your hands, for example. So be careful what you put on your face. All right. Just don't grab something. I know that there was a time that, cool like me wash my face with the cake soap. Listen, I don't listen to these songs, but I have ears. I hear them. Um, you don't want to do that. Cake soap is not good for your skin. You don't want to look like um, s- uh, the remains of someone lying in a casket. All right. You'd rather have a healthy glow. All right. And when you do that, now the skin is too dry, the pores, the sebaceous glands, they respond by overproduction of oil, and that overproduction of oil traps dirt and many other things that it's not good for the body at all. All right? Okay. Here I get another quote. I'm getting some great feedback here, and I want to share it with you, for you who will see this video at a later point, and for those on YouTube. Coming from Valera again in the comments here on Zoom, says soak charcoal chunks overnight, but before that, grilled it first for kill bacteria into the chunks and wash it. If you see the chunks fully burned, that's time to wash and clean it before those small chunks. Floating charcoal chunks before transferring to clean container and use it in the morning or what time you want. You amaze how simple remedies can help from nature. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Get in touch with me. Um, Diet and skin. Let's talk about diet and skin. Just a little touch on acne there. Acne is a big subject, and I do not pretend to be able to cover it this evening. All right, I want to finish in a decent time for you. Diet and skin. The basal layer is the deepest foundational layer of the epidermis. Now, the epidermis is what we can see. It's the upper layer of the skin sitting directly above the internal environment. Now, this is the basal layer. It sits above the internal environment of the skin. Now, this is very important to get. The epidermis itself contains no blood vessels, really. The basal layer relies entirely on the blood vessels in the underlying dermis to diffuse nutrients upward. Right? So the basal layer, that is what has blood vessels and interacts with the internal environment of the skin and then diffuses nutrients upward to the epidermis, the dermis and the epidermis of the skin. So this is how our internal health is really connected to our skin and to the external world where our eyes can behold and feel and say, hey, something is wrong with our internal um, situation. We want to get to the place where we appreciate the messages of inner health that the skin sends us. We want to develop the lost skill of reading the book of the skin, and we need to read the skin. All right. So let's look at diet here and skin. This is a microscopic picture that shows a cell that cannot retain water because it is damaged. And sometimes it is trapped from being replaced. Maybe incorrect bathing, wrong diet, other things going on is trapped. The skin would like to get rid of it. So to the eye now, the epidermal appearance is that of a spot. And many times we can cover that spot instead of trying to aid the body to expel the dead skin or to correct the inflammatory error by diet and lifestyle. So don't just settle down that there are different kinds of spots. Some of them are really caused by different things, but a lot of times it's just dead skin that's trying to get out, trap dirt, trap toxins. So the diet and skin, I want you to know, see what's happening here. Well, let's go back. What's happening here is you can see, if you can see my cursor is showing you there where, let me see if it's showing. Oh, you're not able to see my cursor, but you can see the blood vessel, and then you can see these black spots coming up. They represent toxins. And what they do is that they actually create on the surface what we would like a hyperpigmentation, a discoloration that is not very beautiful to the eye. No, to the untrained person, they go and they cover it and forget about it. It's like a check engine light from your car and you just paste something over it so you don't see it and you continue driving the car. No one would do that, right? So why would we cover the check engine signs that our bodies give us, which is like the appearances of these skins on the skin? It's a check engine, it's a check body light sign, right? Something is going on. So instead of just covering it, we want to understand that it is telling us something about the internal state. Now, as you see here, some fresh fruits, vegetables, rich in antioxidants, um, and so on. As you start to do that, that difference starts to happen. All right. But the difference is not going to be seen on the skin. I'm almost finished, but I must mention this point to you. There is a residual or a gap of space between you doing something right and you seeing the results. In that space is where you trust the process and you get a character change. That is how God has organized it. You don't start doing something right and right away you see changes. Sometimes it takes a time, and you must persevere in the right by faith, knowing that you will soon see great results. But that by the time results come, you have adopted a new regime, a new regimen of living. And so it's not all about how you look anymore. It's about who you are as a person. All right. So we live in a world where we want to look like what we're not. Men want to look strong. They take all these powders and they want to look big and strong. And a lot of times the ladies will tell you they are a no-go showboat. All right. The wife is complaining. He just looks big, but he can't do nothing. All right. Yeah. Ladies are doing and poking all these things all over their bodies, not knowing that they're destroying their health. They want to look what a healthy woman would look like. Don't join the crowd. Don't join the crowd of trying to look like what you're not. The reward of health is looking good. All right. Someone there posts Isaiah 38:21. I'd like someone to go through it. I can't go through it right here on the screen. I have too many things up. But looking well comes at the back end. All right. It's not to fit into certain genes or whatever, it's to be healthy. It's not to um just look good and lift up all these things. It's to be functional, to serve your family as a man, to be there for them and to be strong and healthy for the long term so you're not a burden. How about that? Sounds better, right? All right, great. So there's a space, and I want to encourage you when you start something new, continue. Once you're doing something good, continue. Earlier on, the co-presenter mentioned about um, the breakout that the person went through. If you're not suffering and your life, the quality of your life and you're not suffering in pain, if it's only in looks, go through it. You will get to that place that you will have nice, clean skin like this and healthy internals. All right, so as we close off, um, skin supporting diet. There are a healthy diet for your body is a skin supporting diet. All right, not going to get into the details and specific, but we've been through a lot of that and we'll cover some more healthy fats and oils coming up, sweets, proteins, all these things are coming up in the other health secrets presentations. Vitamin C, at least 1,000 milligrams a day. Um, and more than that is also good, but at least 1,000 milligrams. Beginner's level, glutathione, try liposomal glutathione, which is the master antioxidant for the skin and for the whole body. All right. That's something that you can do. Antioxidant foods and supplements, foods rich in color, deep, bright, natural. These are antioxidant. They leave a stain. They have a smell. These are antioxidant rich. Foods with great flavonoids in them. All right. Sun and vitamin D3. You can supplement as well. As people of melanin, we need a little extra, so no problem in supplementing in your vitamin D3. And be in touch with a functional medicine doctor who can test these things and would be more likely, or you can encourage your doctor to test your vitamin D levels. Normally, these things are not tested. Vitamin E oil, grapeseed oil, frankincense oil, and silica complex in apples, raisins, and cucumber, for example. And by no means least, but last, keep your bowels clean. Earlier on, Sharice mentioned that about keeping the bowels clean, how it helped. She got that lady on a detox system and she didn't have to live on Allegra, all right, for the rest of her life. For example, all right, and Allegra is just I think it's an antihistamine that manages allergies. Not saying anything bad about the drug on here. I'm just saying that she didn't have to live on that because she cleansed her colon and did some other things. All right. Hormonal stretch marks. A lot of us, a lot of persons I know struggle with that, especially ladies. You didn't have a baby, you're like, what's going on here? And even if you did have a baby, you're like, wow. But hormonal stress marks, they are really scars that form when abrupt hormonal shifts like surges in cortisol, estrogen, or relaxin happen. And these decrease collagen and elastin, the two main things that make up the elasticity of the skin, and weaken, and you get a tear or a scar as they grow, right? So they commonly appear during puberty, pregnancy, or due to medications, underlying medical conditions. This comes from Mayo Clinic. Now, some persons don't have them at all. We don't have the genetics for it, I guess, or we have been more um, hormonally regulated. So what we can encourage persons to do is number one, um, don't interact with foods, things in the environment that challenge your hormones or add to your hormones too much and change up the thing. You want to be hormonally regulated so that if you have to go through pregnancy, something that causes it's minimal or none at all. All right. I know as well that some persons have a genetic predisposition for these, but genes may predispose and create the likelihood, but they do not determine that you must. You have a higher control over your genes called epigenetics is where you change your lifestyle, your environment, your stress levels, your food, and that then turns on or off the expression of certain genes that are already predisposed to you or given to you by your lineage. All right. So don't think that, oh, my mom has it, I'm going to have it too. No, no, no. The soul that's in it, it shall die. The Bible tells you the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, nor the father of the son. So even though you have that predisposition, God has given you that right to say, hey, show me what you, I won't just allow you to suffer on account of your parents just like that. Um, you have a choice to make. Genetics may load the gun, but it is lifestyle that pulls that trigger. All right. So consider that with hormonal stress mark. Another thing is don't be too caught up and so anxious about it. All right. Life is not all about how you appear. All right. Life is about the happiness and the joy and the peace that you have and the service that you have to your fellow men. All right. And you can be beautiful even with these things. They are, for want of a better word, if you've done your best, they are your perfect imperfections. I hope that makes sense. Another thing I want to talk about before closing here is your hormonal stretch marks. Yes, the coconut oil, just some things that helps before I go to the next page. Coconut oil, and you can mix that with gotu kola. You can take a screenshot of this page. All right. Coconut oil has many great things just to help the skin to be nourished and to mitigate against that scarring as it grows. All right. And gotu kola, an amazing herb that grows in swampy areas. It has a wonderful ingredient in it that helps to stimulate collagen production and accelerate wound healing and strengthen the skin's underlying matrix. You can mix that as well. And there are some studies that show great results with that. How about spider veins, what we call telangiectasia? All right. It's often called spider veins and is referred to small dilated blood vessels near the surface of the skin. Now, right away, we see that this is circulatory base. Now, last week we talked about the heart and the blood. If you haven't seen that, go back and view that in the channel. So they typically appear as fine thread-like red or pink lines. While usually harmless, they can indicate underlying vein issues or certain autoimmune diseases. So don't just want it to go away. You know, lighter skin persons, it shows more, but know that it is telling you something about the internal condition of the body. And this indicates that addressing the root cause of vascular dysfunction is far more critical than merely treating the superficial appearance of the veins. That's what we want you to get, okay? Life is not all about, oh, I'm void of every single person that you see has something that they would rather not have. But that's fine. All right, where if you continue on the road that God wants you to continue on, you're going to inherit a heavenly body. All right, a heavenly body. And if you've been faithful in what is least, which is this earthly body, then you'll be faithful in taking care of the one that the Lord will give you. And you'll be looking back at this one and say, wow, I thought I was so pretty. But it's nothing compared to this heavenly body that the Lord will give to those who are faithful. A foundational strategy for prevention involves supporting the endothelial cells that line the blood vessels. Talked about that last week as well. Incorporate antioxidant-rich foods and colorful foods, natural food rather than processed food-like items. When you're choosing, does it grow on a tree? Is it natural? If you can choose that, choose that. High dose vitamin C is always good for your blood vessels, and improving overall systemic health solves many issues that don't appear so pretty that we might want to fix. Just improve your overall health and give things time. It has been my pleasure sharing with you this evening. You have remained with me until the end, and I just pray that you all just have a blessing. Go over this over and over. Um, Go back through this. May this spur you on to do your own research. All right. Don't just take what I've said this evening and just run with it only, but may it just be the starting point for your own education. No, you don't need to know how to build a bridge. You don't need to know how to fly a plane, but because you have a body, you need to know how to take care of it. Okay. And because you have a soul, your destiny, you need to know how to take care of that too. So you don't trust it to the pastor. Oh, I don't care. Whatever the pastor says, I'll do. No, no, no. You have one to take care of. Oh, I'll just trust my body to the doctor. No, no, no. You have a body. Take care of it. God has given you that responsibility. It is upon you now to learn and to say, I want to become maybe not a specialist, but I really want to become practical physiologist in the care of this system that the Lord has given me. My name is Kenny Williamson. It's been my pleasure being here with you this evening. And